Welcome to Marketing After Hours with JumpFly, where marketing meets creativity. All day, we're heads down in PPC, social media, Amazon, SEO, and more. After hours, we talk shop. Because when the day ends, the best conversations begin.
Welcome to Marketing After Hours with JumpFly. I'm Alyssa. I'm going to be your host for this evening, and we'll be talking Paid Search 101, how the game has changed. Now, I've got two incredible paid search pros here with me today. Seriously, between them, they've been in the game longer than Google Ads has even existed, which I think is really cool. First, we have Nikki over here on my left. She's been navigating the world of PPC for over 23 years. When she's not optimizing campaigns, she's got her nose buried in a novel. Because sometimes escaping into a good book is the perfect break from ad data. I can definitely agree with that. Yes. And then over here, we've got Jack. He's a paid search veteran with a brand new addiction. Pickleball, exactly.
We hear about pickleball.
Oh, everybody hears about pickleball.
Everyone should hear about pickleball. Everyone should play pickleball.
Right from his own mouth. While he's spent the last 12 months perfecting his backhand, he's actually spent the last 20 years perfecting paid search strategies, keeping brands ahead of the keeping brands ahead of the curve and on top of the SERPs. Together, they've seen it all, how paid search started, how it's evolved, and where it's headed. And tonight, they are spilling the tea.
Nobody's drinking tea here.
Nobody's drinking tea here today. I was just like,
I think we should do a toast. What do you think?
Yes, let's toast.
Let's toast to paid search.
Paid search.
And the crazy stories that we've seen.
Clink.
Clink.
If a question gets too tricky, guys, just take a sip of your drink and point at each other and I'll take the
Google
hint.
it.
Yeah, just Google it. There we go. Absolutely. Now, before we dive into the evolution of paid search, I want to show you something really special. So I recently came across this relic, and it's a print ad plate from the early 1960s. And it's for a bank in Crystal Lake, Illinois. And it's heavy.
Oh my gosh, it is heavy.
Made of metal and solid wood. And the imagery is absolutely incredible on this piece. So, and we're going to go ahead and show an image of
we got
this.
a little guy holding the Home State Bank loan sign, and he's kicking tires.
Mm-hmm.
And it's old type. I mean, it's very cool. Here, I'll let Jack see it.
Yeah, take a look at that, Jack. Yeah, so the cartoon man is cheerfully kicking these tires while he's got his bank loan in hand. And the impact lines of the kick actually draw your eye up to the main headline of the ad copy. Get your auto loan first. Now, the craftsmanship is beautiful, but it's a reminder, really, of how far advertising has really come. What really caught my attention when I first saw this plate is the blank space. You can see there's a huge blank space right there. And that was designed so that they could very easily and manually update the ad copy. So if the bank had a new offer or a new interest rate, they could just very easily put in the new offer right there, and then it would be printed in the next issue of the Crystal Lake Herald.
It's the first responsive search ad.
There you go.
Yes, it is the first responsive search ad. And you could say it's about as dynamic as advertising could get back then.
Mm-hmm. This is really cool.
Yeah. And today, we can change ad copy in seconds, right?
Literally seconds.
Yeah, literally. We can run hundreds of A/B tests. We can personalize messages for all different kinds of audiences. We can even use AI to generate custom headlines. So the blank space on this plate is almost poetic in that it represents the limited flexibility that they had compared to the near infinite possibilities that we have now. So Nikki, Jack, seeing something like this, how do you think the concept of agility in advertising has changed?
Well, it definitely makes a difference in that you can change an interest rate in an ad. If you're doing something for a bank immediately. it's a constant change. You don't have to get stuck with prices. You don't have to print a sign that has a price on it that you then can't change. So there's something to be said for agility, but there's also something to be said for the simpler times, I would say. When Broad Match was Broad Match, when it actually, so Broad Match a long time ago, I don't know if you know this, Alyssa. If you had a term red sneakers and it was Broad Match, the word red and the word sneakers had to be in the search phrase somewhere.
Yeah.
Could be, I need red sneakers. I want red sneakers.
I want red high top
for
sneakers.
Sale. But it had to have red and sneakers somewhere in there. Otherwise, it technically wasn't a match.
Yeah. And it really, that was one of the first things I remember making a massive difference to our results. And I remember complaining to Google for like 6 months. I mean, I remember vividly the Googlers coming to us and visiting us in our office. And Jack and I are like, something happened. These keywords that have been amazing for so long are just tanking. And they're like, no, we haven't changed anything. We haven't changed anything. For 6 months we complained. And then finally they came back and said, now they do synonyms, and the red and the sneakers don't have to be in the search term anymore. So that was the start. And I think that was like 2007. I think it was about 2007 when that happened. Might have been 2006, somewhere in there when those changes happened. So.
That's a really good example of agility because the actual ad platform has changed.
Yeah.
And then you have to adapt.
Right. We had to adapt because we had keywords that had been amazing, but all of a sudden we're getting matched to, and we couldn't see search queries at the time. So we couldn't see what they were being matched to, but we just knew that something had changed and things got worse. They got more volume, but
that's also, let's go back to that. Like you couldn't see search queries.
Yeah, you didn't know what people were actually searching
on. You didn't know what people were searching for. Like that people, it's easy for them. Well, not with PMAX. Now you can't really even see what they're searching for, but at least in search campaigns, now you could see what keywords are being searched for and you could exclude things. But yeah, back in the day, it was just.
Yeah, you had no idea. And so that coming up with the search queries was like the next stage of the evolution of what we could actually, how we could actually help the accounts.
Yeah.
Once things got looser. And then Jack and I were reminiscing about, there was something called bid jamming.
Oh, yeah.
So Yahoo used to be the platform to be on. Like when I first started, it was Overture. And then Yahoo bought Overture. And everybody wanted to be on Yahoo. That was where you wanted to be. Google was this little baby startup. And it was like, we'll put a little bit of money in Google, but most of the money went on Yahoo. And we all had two desktop computers. And one of them specifically did something called bid jamming. Because a long time ago, you would only pay a penny more than the person who was just below you in bids.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a bid of 99 cents and the person below you had a bid of 59 cents, you'd only pay 60 cents.
Okay.
You'd only pay a penny more. And so you'd get these competitors would come in and they'd inflate their bids to try to push everybody out. And so we had software that did this thing called bid jamming, where it would force that company to pay whatever price they put in as their bid. Let's say they put in a $4 bid. We could force them to pay $4, but we'd only pay still a penny who was below us. So you could, and it would check every hour and it would change the bids in your account to force them. And so when they started coming down, then we would back off the bid jamming. And it was just a way to kind of level the playing field so nobody could be a jerk and just take over the bid space.
Didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
And we aggressively went after them. So I had one attorney, remember, like even back then, a $4 bid was like, whoa, $4, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
But there were some attorneys who were bidding $50, $70, even $90 way back then. But if that top guy was 90 and we bid $89.99 and the next guy below was $1, we're paying $1 to be in 2. They're paying $90 to be number 1.
Yeah.
So that's where it was really effective, when there was a huge gap between 1, 2, and 3 bids. But you could make that guy pay $90 and you're literally paying $1 for the slot below them.
Wow.
It was, and you could see other people's bids.
Yeah, you could see what other people were bidding. That was the other thing.
Like, think of that. You could actually see what they were bidding.
In the platform.
In the platform.
See their bids.
That is truly incredible.
So it was very transparent.
Yeah.
But if you weren't paying attention, man, you could get smackdown, which
Mhm.
we, again, for our clients, we're like, hey, then hopefully they're paying attention and they, bring that bid down for
And
the
that kind of levels
category.
that playing.
But if they don't
levels
pay
the playing
attention,
field.
they're just paying way more than you are
Mhm.
for that click. I will say the other thing in the beginning too was there was no conversion tracking in the very beginning. It was pure ego bidding. I need
ego
to be
bidding.
number one.
Even when there was conversion tracking, that didn't
Yeah,
matter to a lot of
right.
people.
But
Ego
again,
bidding was the thing.
like you have to be number one. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to get business. You're not successful unless you were number one in the ad slot, which, as we know now, that isn't always the most profitable slot to be in. But
Yeah, we'd have. I had a couple clients that like the whole board that was their thing every day. They would do searches for themselves, and if they didn't see themselves in number one, they would contact our client contact, who would then reach out to us and be like, "Okay, we're not showing in number one. Let's get us to number one." And then the advent of when Google started doing, if I do a search, I'm going to see different results than you're going to see, than what
Mhm.
Jack's going to see. That was so hard to get through to people. That just because you're not seeing yourself in number one doesn't mean the majority of the US or whatever area you're in are doing number one.
and that's where average
Yeah.
position used to be a field you can actually see, which is
Yeah.
now gone. But you could kind of see, you're 1.2 on average. So maybe you might see yourself in 3, but the vast majority of the country is seeing you in number 1. So it's,
we still have
and then it was
clients-
all manual bid too back then. Still,
Yeah.
you'd literally go in, I'm bidding 350. I'm not number 1. Let's try 375. Okay, I'm still not. Let's try 4. Again, it was very manual.
Mhm.
You're constantly in there. The other thing too was, let's say you had 100 ad groups back in the day. There was no roll up of the keywords. If you remember, you had to go ad group
by ad
You
group.
literally had to go in ad group by ad group to adjust your keyword bid. So if you had 100 ad groups, you're literally going into all those, seeing where your keyword bids were, your placements, your CTR, and adjusting your bid. So it was very time-consuming,
Yeah.
laborious process.
We used to
adjust your
have
bids.
reports printed monthly that literally were for each client that had all the top, like by spend, all the keywords. And we would go through them and figure out what do we need to bid adjust. Some clients we did more frequently, but every client had that every single month.
Yep.
And we'd all go sit in the kitchen because we didn't have a conference room way back when. And we'd sit in the kitchen, we'd go through those reports and figure out, okay, we got to raise these, lower these.
Mhm.
This is a keyword that is just wasted. We got to pause it.
Yeah. No
goodness.
smart bidding.
There was
back
no
then.
smart bidding.
Not even a glimmer of that even being a thing
Yeah.
back then. It was all, you're bidding against these specific competitors. Here's where they're bidding. Here's what you're bidding. Here's your CTR. Here's where you fall. And you just manipulated those bids manually, one at a time.
Mhm.
Which is interesting because just today we changed some bids.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
we're
still
talking,
doing some manual
Yeah,
bidding.
we do some
Yeah.
manual bidding.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate control, really, is that, smart bidding is great. Obviously, it's very productive, very effective. But certain times,
Sometimes it
you
just
got to kind of get your hands on it and get dirty and just,
we've seen a lot of bid increases in Performance Max.
yeah.
That's been
Mhm.
a huge thing. In fact, Jeremy, who is an account manager on my team, actually did a blog about it, and he looked at all of the Performance Max campaigns that he has in my entire MCC, and he was able to look and see what the Performance Max CPCs have gone to year over year, and it's pretty incredible how much it's gone up. And that's the thing I don't think a lot of people think about. If you have a $10,000 budget and your clicks were $1, you got 10,000 clicks. But now, if you have a $10,000 budget and your clicks are $1.50, you're getting that much less clicks because your budget
Mhm.
doesn't go as far.
Yeah. If your conversion rate doesn't exponentially improve or your average order size doesn't exponentially improve, you're just spending more
More.
for
Yeah,
less.
you're getting less
Unfortunately.
ROAS, and so
So-
I think that's a hard thing right now for clients. That's a big smart bidding was a huge change. Mobile made a massive shift in paid search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the advent of being able to search on mobile devices, and then how much usually conversion rate, especially a long time ago before Shopify and Amazon
Yeah.
and all the apps that make it so much easier to just shop on your mobile device. It was, people would do searches on mobile, but they would buy on desktop.
Okay.
So-
There was no cross device.
And there was
tracking.
no cross device. So you didn't know how much all that search volume that you were getting on mobile was actually contributing to your paid, the volume that
Right.
you're getting on desktop. So, that was hard. That was really hard.
Yeah. I mean, again, to your point too, it's also constantly changing still. Like from when we first started, it's so drastically different now than the way it was when we first started. I mean, it's a completely different beast and it keeps changing all the time.
We can't, even now we can't keep up with this. This is all we do. And it's hard to keep up
Yeah,
with the
I
changes.
can't even imagine a small business just trying to keep track of all the changes that are happening in these platforms because it is constant. And now with AI being introduced, that's a whole nother piece where you've got AI literally baked into Google Ads now. It can help you with ad copy, with audience ideas, images. I mean, that's a whole new equipment set that you have now within Google Ads that, 2 years ago wasn't there. So again, it changes yet again.
Yeah.
And who knows where, 2 years from now it's going to be. But
We'll just have
definitely
to
keeps
tell
you on
it.
your
We're just going
toes.
we'll just talk to it and say, okay.
I mean, that could be where this is
Could be.
heading.
You never know.
Exactly. Yeah. So how has the integration of AI and machine learning changed the way that campaigns are run today?
Well, I think definitely, again, whether you're using internally in Google Ads, they've got tools to help you with headlines, ad copy, keywords. You've also got, the chat GPTs of the world that definitely can help you with iterations of headlines. I mean, again, coming up 15 headlines, it's a little time consuming, but you can get literally 100 combinations out of chat GPT in seconds.
Right.
So they're great tools. They're great, blank page busters,
Thought partners.
brainstorming tools. Again, it's never going to be like you click the button, you just accept what they give you. It's always kind of that trust but verify. It definitely helps you get
trust but verify.
It definitely helps
yes.
you get to the end game faster, but you still have to pay attention to what it's.
You still need
giving
human
you.
intervention
Absolutely
to make sure
need
that
human
it's because you'll see
intervention,
some
for sure.
crazy in the Google AI recommendations or or Chat GPT or Copilot or any of those. You'll see some. You're like, where did this come? This makes no sense.
I don't sell this at all. Like this is not relevant to my business whatsoever. So yeah, again, trust but verify. Yeah. But they're great tools. They do speed up the process. Again, the blank page buster effect
I love it
huge.
for write a blog, and I hate doing conclusions. Like concluding paragraphs are like the bane of my existence. I don't know why. So I like taking it and dumping it in Chat GPT and then having it give me a concluding paragraph, and then I tweak it and make it, make sure it's my own voice and whatever. But I'm like, okay, thank you, because that was always my struggle.
That's definitely
and I think part of it too, like when you manually doing the headlines and descriptions, you kind of get in this, I guess, a rut. You're saying the same things, and you throw it in the AI tool. You're like, oh wow, that's a nice turn of phrase, or
I'm going to use that phrase, but I need to tweak it a little bit to make sure it fits the brand.
But it
made me think of something that I never would have thought of.
It definitely will take you places where you would never have thought of that concept. You're like, wow, some of them you look at it and you go, wow, that's damn good. Like I'm using that. So yeah, I would, if you're not using AI tools, you definitely should be.
Yeah. I think the other one that we are really liking as a agency is we use Fathom now. So it's note taker, and it's giving better notes to our clients to make sure we're fully capturing their thoughts and things like that. And we can go back, and if somebody's sick and they weren't able to be on that call, they can watch the call and get all the information. I think between the recording capability of it and then the note taking, I think we're giving better results to our clients, and that's been helpful. We've always done call recaps, but using Fathom captures AI. A little more detail than maybe we were doing, and
more robust and they're more thorough, and it's less work. Like, why wouldn't you use these tools?
Well, and we can pay attention to our clients 100% on the call,
which is
doesn't
seem like it's a big deal, but that's a huge deal.
It is a big deal because it allows us to listen more instead of thinking about what
actively
we need to
engaging
write down.
and listening as opposed to note taking. And I think that's definitely a client.
And it's literally like having the stenographer.
Yeah, there you go. Court stenographer.
Literally sitting next to you.
Right. Oh, it's fantastic.
That's exactly what it is.
Along those same lines, how do you think clients have changed over the years? Are expectations any different?
Yes, expectations are different and they want us to do more.
Mm-hmm.
They're constantly asking for us to do more. And, we struggle with, if a client wants to do Performance Max and they don't have video,
Mm-hmm.
we're having to create video using Google's Video Builder, which is, as we all know, better than Google's automatically created videos.
Right.
But still, it's, they've come up with some more templates and that's helpful. But so we've had to adapt. If I wasn't a graphic type person, now I'm having to become more skilled at creating video or, communicating. It's communicating the message in a slightly different way than it is on a text ad. Or,
Absolutely.
so it's that you're having to guide clients a lot more on what to ask it. Because it used to be really easy. It was keywords, it was headlines, it was descriptions.
Yeah, there was
That's all you
nothing
needed.
else. It was literally a
now it's
keyword and a
videos and
text ad.
Images.
That was
and,
it.
And if a client doesn't have a huge social presence, they're not really used to that image asset and video asset. So it's hard. That is hard. So they're wanting more from us. I think clients are looking for more consulting.
Mhm.
I've always approached it that way. I have a marketing background. I was an English major and I came through marketing as my background. So I've always looked more big picture for my clients. And so, guiding them on making sure you're doing good email campaigns because that adds to your
Which
value.
we now offer.
And yes, which we now offer, yes. But, but that is important. And when, because we'll look at Google's analytics data. GA4 is another change that I don't think benefits as many people as maybe Google would hope. But, looking at GA4 and seeing, okay, year over year, your email's down, your SEO is down, your organic reach is down, and trying to bubble those things up to them and not just keep in our window or narrow tunnel of paid search.
Right.
So,
Yeah, back in the day, we really only were focused on the paid search because we really only had the insight into that component in the beginning.
yeah, in the
But then
beginning.
now
there
it's
wasn't.
expanded into the expectation is
Mhm.
you're going to help with everything.
And it used to be somebody clicked an ad, they purchased.
Yeah.
Or they clicked an ad and didn't purchase. It wasn't they clicked an ad, then they clicked on their phone, and then they clicked an email, and then they went organically, and then, oh my gosh, now they're getting marketed to on Facebook. All of those things matter in the window. And I don't think anybody's really cracked that code really well on how all of those things count. There are some packages out there that'll do incremental ROAS or attribution, but I don't think anybody, and they're really expensive. So small to medium businesses can't afford it to be able to see that all of those things, your social media ads, your social media organic, your paid ads, your organic results, your email results, all of those contributed to that one sale.
Right.
And how do you give value to all of them?
Well, because wouldn't Google technically report that as like a partial conversion in some
Google
cases?
ads, well, they won't partial it out based on all of the sources. They only will give you partial conversion if somebody clicked 2 ads or 3 ads.
I see.
So then it's a portion across that, but they don't take into account, Google Ads doesn't take into account all of the other ways
Right.
and attribute it that way.
But other platforms sometimes will take all the credit.
So you might have 3 different sources that are all saying, I got the conversion.
Then you look
But
at
you
your
only have
cash
one
register
sale.
But you only
and
had
you're like,
one
wait
sale.
a minute. My cash register says this. My
Yeah.
platforms say I have 3x. I have 1x.
Yeah.
Well, and
So-
that's why we always ask the customers, how's it going? What
Right.
We need
to know.
That's the biggest question for
Yeah.
clients. And a lot of times they don't necessarily know, but it's how are you doing big picture?
Yeah.
Mhm.
How are you doing overall?
It ties into Stephanie's brought up that marketing efficiency ratio.
Mhm.
It's how much are you spending in all of your marketing?
Right.
How much is you bring in revenue? Is that an acceptable percentage?
And people,
If so, get more aggressive in your marketing. If not, maybe you got to, pull back overall. But the bottom
Clients
line is
still
what's in my
can't-
cash register
Yeah.
and how much did you spend to get that money in your cash register? And
Oh.
is that percentage acceptable?
a
Right.
lot of clients haven't gotten out of that mode of PPC brings me X, paid social brings me Y, email brings me Z. And they don't think that
It's
all of those are
intertwined
tied
now.
together.
Right.
That is probably one of the hardest things to communicate. And a lot of them just, they can't.
Because it's hard to get the right number.
Yeah.
It's hard to get what belongs in what bucket effectively. But
Right.
again, ultimately, it's how much are you spending? How much are you making? Is that a good ratio?
Mm-hmm.
So along those lines, so what are some of the biggest challenges that you both have faced while navigating the ever-changing world of paid search?
I think it's one of the things is outer influences.
Mm,
Elections make a difference.
Definitely.
The economy makes a difference because clients
Pandemics.
will make a difference, good and bad.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
it depends
Yeah,
on what
some
you
clients did
sold
really well, some
during the
did not
pandemic.
do so well.
Right.
And clients want you to solve those issues. Well, why is my business down? Well, collectively, a lot of people are down because we're in election year, and I went through. I think it was my 5th election year. Might have been my 6th election year this year, and every election year is a weird year. I just don't know how
Yes.
else to explain it other than it's a weird year, and you never know what's going to happen. And we saw it again this year, and it's just it's hard to communicate that without sounding like an excuse. But when you see it across all your clients, that definitely makes a difference. But those outside influences, I think, are the hardest because the clients want you to say, well, if I'm still spending the same amount of money, why am I not getting the same amount of money back?
I mean, also
Those are outside
internally,
our
it's some of the
control.
black box of, smart bidding and
Yeah.
performance max. I mean, back in the day, we manually put that bid where we want it to be, knowing that's kind of where
And you didn't spend over that.
right.
There
and
was
that's where
no
the upper,
going
that's
over
where the
that
upper
bid.
limit was. You bid $4, you might pay $4, but you also might pay $2 because your quality score was better. Your
Or
competitors
26 cents or
or
whatever.
whatever.
But you would not pay
Pay
more than
more.
$4. So it was really easy to
Now-
budget.
I mean,
Right.
we saw what, a $600 click come in. You see multiple $100 clicks coming in sometimes on some smart bidding.
Yeah,
just
clients will be
programs,
like,
but-
why is my average, say, $3.82? And I saw a click in there for $24 and
Yeah.
a click in there because
Yeah.
Google or Microsoft or whatever thinks they're
So, I mean,
they're really close to that purchase. And so they're going to bid higher for it.
Exactly.
it was a little more tedious back in the day, but you also had more control. So there's definitely that trade-off. Now it's, again, I always liked having a lot of the little levers, but
Mm-hmm.
now they start kind of taking away the levers and giving you this one big fat lever instead of a lot of little levers. I was always a fan of a lot of little levers.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big
That's a big shift.
shift.
Smart bidding was huge.
Yeah. So, and again, you see certain, hey, I was 40 cents for the last 8 years on average. Now I'm $1.12 and I'm using smart bidding, but I need more volume. You kind of get stuck in that
Or you get,
trap of your CPC just climbing.
oh, but
Mhm.
pre-pandemic, I did this. Why am I
Yeah.
not back to pre-pandemic?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a
The
different
world changed.
It's a different world.
It is. Yes.
I hear that more times than you can think. Still recently,
Yeah.
clients will bring
Wow.
up, this is what I did pre-pandemic. I want to get back there again.
Time machine.
Yeah.
The economy as a whole really changed.
And if
during
there's
that
new
time,
competitors,
so-
if there's the ways people search, Amazon is a big, let's call it disruptor, but
Temu is a big disruptor.
we see for Amazon in particular, we know that people search on Google and then they go buy on Amazon because they trust the Amazon name versus this company they've never heard of. If they can buy it on Amazon, they're going to do that. And we've tested that where we've turned off campaigns on Google and saw their Amazon sales drop.
Hmm.
So there is that direct correlation. So, and that's again, how do you attribute that?
Right.
How do you show the value of your Google Ads search, Microsoft Ads search, even your Facebook, ads, all of that on what is actually happening for your Amazon store? And nobody has cracked that at all. Somebody would make huge bank.
The only,
If
way
they
they're
could
gonna,
figure
the
that
only
out.
way they're going to crack that is if we all agree to have an individual ID that's attached to us as we move around the internet, and it just.
Well, we kind of already do. But they
I
still
mean,
can't track it on Amazon.
But an actual ID that
Mm-hmm.
you have to willingly use. We need to be paid. Each of us individually need to be paid. Hey, you can use my ID, but you got to pay me a couple $100 a month, and then they can track us all they want. But we have to be paid. That's my concept.
I think privacy, speaking of that, privacy is another thing that's been a
Yes.
disruptor.
Well, because people are blocking cookies, and so sometimes you'll get 10 sales, but And they came from Google Ads, but you only tracked 7 or 8 because they're
Right.
they're blocked. So
Don't you lose a 20 to 30%
So
of conversions?
Anyway, just anyway.
Right.
So that's
And
another
then when cookie consent is
whole
added,
story.
if it's not consented until you opt out, we've seen conversions drop by 75%,
Oh, we had
80%.
we had one
because-
that went about 90%. They had it automatically opted you out if you didn't opt in
on their website?
on their website.
Yeah, you were
And
opted
could
out
see
until you opted in.
conversions literally dropped 90% because
Mhm.
everyone's like,
Why would I
"Forget
opt
it.
in?
Forget it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, 90%. So
That's incredible.
again, market efficiency ratio. How much did you really spend? How much did you make? Is that a good percentage?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the bottom line. And then
It should be.
And then you still have to kind of play how much you're spending on Facebook, Google. So you use conversion tracking as a guideline, but not as your end all be all absolute number.
Mhm.
So
Would you say there were more absolutes back in the day? Or
Yeah.
absolute numbers you could rely on?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
your budget, your daily budget. It was an
Yeah.
absolute. If your
Yes.
daily budget was 100, you would not spend
it was not a
Over
rolling
$100.
30-day calendar.
if your bid
Right.
was $4, like Jack was saying earlier. Your bid, the highest you would pay is
It's
$4.
Mhm.
They were absolutely absolute.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, again, back in the day, your ad copy was also your ad copy. Like you had one headline, 2 descriptions. Everyone saw the same ad.
Mm-hmm.
Now with responsive search, you've got 15 headlines, 15 long headlines, four
just 4
descriptions.
descriptions.
There's literally thousands of ad combinations being shown from that singular ad unit. Whereas in the old days, it was your ad was your ad. That was it.
And you can't A/B test anymore ad because we would test ad copy all the time. Ad 1 versus ad 2, different call to action, a different headline. What's going to resonate better and give us a better conversion rate or a better return on ad spend or whatever. And you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You
So-
can't see truly, is this headline need to be truly replaced? Because low doesn't tell you, is it low because of people don't click on it, or is it low because it's bad ROAS, but they click on it, but they're not converting?
Or maybe it isn't even shown.
Yeah.
Maybe that one.
I mean,
maybe that
you're
headline
starting to
isn't
get more
even-
of those numbers. You can see
Mhm.
those numbers, but you can't really tell what is low mean.
Right.
Because it could be a low click, but a high conversion rate and a high ROAS. So that's okay.
yeah.
If it's a low click rate, but the ones that are coming on that one are going to turn into sales, that's great. So,
But we don't have that.
But we don't have that data.
I want
So we
Google to
can't.
launch Google Ads Retro. So if you choose to do the old school way, you could just put in manually bid keywords, budgets, and your ad copy, and they'll just follow them. I mean, there was a cleanliness kind of to it back
Yeah.
in the day. I mean, it's so complicated now and cluttered.
Mhm.
You know, and you always argue, is it better? I don't know. I mean, we had clients doing very well before smart bidding, before all the different extensions
campaign
and different
types
campaign
and-
types. It was like someone searched for your product, there's your ad, they click through, purchase, done. Just a nice clean simplicity to it. Now PMax, I mean, you're in Gmail and Discover and YouTube and search and shopping ads. Oh, remember there was no shopping ads.
Well, yeah, a long time ago there was none, and then they started out. It was frugal, so shopping ads were free.
Okay.
Like it was
Yes.
frugal was what it was called, and it didn't cost anything for you to show. They weren't
Okay.
ads; they were just you just showed, and then they made ads,
okay.
and that's gotten so much more complicated because shipping matters and tax matters and all kinds of things that become. And Google with their overzealous, there's a overlay on an image, so therefore it can't show. And I have been
Right.
fighting for a couple of clients. The logo is part
Oh,
Of the product.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's
and
Yes.
it's been appealed, and now it can't be appealed again, but it's part of the product. And they will not allow that
Yeah.
image, even though
Yeah.
it was appealed. And in February of 2024, it was appealed, and I can't appeal it again.
And then
So it's like, do I have the client Photoshop it and then the product is not accurate.
Actually, the product, right? People
It's
get
not
it,
accurate because
hey,
they'll get it and they'll be like,
how
"Hey,
come
there's
this
this thing
text
on there
isn't-"
that I didn't. It's not in the picture on the website, or it's not in
Yeah.
the picture in the feed." So
Yeah.
now Google's asking us to be unrealistic.
But then remember, Frugal was free, but then all shopping went to paid.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was a big hullabaloo.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
People were getting thousands of clicks a month or a day, even
through
for
Frugal.
free, and then every shopping ad became paid. Now you've got sponsored shopping, you've got the free.
Yeah,
But there was a point it was all free, then
And
it
it was
was
all
all
paid.
paid, and then they went back to
both.
sponsored is paid, and you get a little bit of free perks. But that was a huge deal
Mhm.
when it went. Sorry, you've got to pay for what you've been
I
getting.
had
for
some
free
clients that
for-
are like, "I'm not doing it. I'm not paying Google for that." Well, they changed their minds after a while.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. We've had not a lot, but a few angrily quit Google. Then 2 weeks later, like, okay, turn my ads back on.
Yeah.
Like I showed Google.
Yeah.
They're like, they clearly need them to drive traffic to their business
Yeah.
website. But
Yeah.
I had a few of those. Not anyone really recently, but kind
I
of
have one
earlier
that's-
on,
Well, I have one that's talking about it right now.
angry quit Google.
An angry quit Google. I have one right now.
And they come back.
Mm.
He hasn't turned off yet, but he keeps threatening it. I'm like,
I mean, Google
it's a test. You'll
mean-
see what happens.
I mean,
Like,
and again, just the general gist of paid ads is such a brilliant concept. It's like you are putting in a keyword looking for a product or service. There it is. Like what you can't get better. It's better than a TV commercial. It's better than a radio commercial. It's literally
the intent is
getting
so
in front
strong.
of someone who's got the intent to buy your product or use your
Mhm.
service or pay for your service or whatever. To me, it's the greatest advertising device ever.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's in our pockets now too.
Yeah.
Well,
with
yeah, and
the
it's so
advent of
easy.
mobile,
It's so
obviously.
easy to get to it now too.
Mhm. That's one of the reasons why I was so excited when JumpFly called me back in 2005, because I had done it. I worked for a marketing company, or I was in marketing for a company. And so I was doing print ads, not having to use I'm not that old. I didn't use the type block, stuff like that, but we were doing print ads, and we were doing, we didn't do any radio, but we did trade shows, and we did all this. And it was so hard to track. How is that format actually delivering business to us?
Mhm.
And so I was doing paid search there back when it was Overture. And I was like, this is great, because you can see exactly what you're getting from that. How much am I spending and exactly what I'm getting? And I had tried to find a job way back then. So it was 2002, maybe.
Mhm.
I tried to find a job doing paid search or something. And there was no agencies out there other than the one that the company I worked for hired to take over paid search. And I'm like, well, I can't go to them because you can't. They wouldn't poach. There's no
Right,
poaching.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and so I got laid off. I stayed home for a year, had a second baby. And then about 2 months in, with this new baby and a 3-year-old, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I love my kids, but I can't stay home. And I swear I came home from like a mommy and me like library thing with this 2-month-old and a 3-year-old. And there's a voicemail on my answering machine from one of the co-founders of JumpFly. And it's like, I found your resume on Monster. And that's how, and I was ecstatic to actually work. They were local. They were within 3 miles of me. I started part-time, so I could still be home with these 2 little kids, so I wasn't
Yeah.
just completely going full-time. And I did part-time for, I think, not quite a year. I went 3/4 time, and then I went full-time, and I've been here ever since. But yeah, that's why I was so excited, because it's such a great medium.
Mhm.
It was then, in the fact that you could say, this is what I spent and this is what I got. Can't do that anymore. We're back to where I was way back in, 2002. But, it's still, I still love paid search, and how much, even though the changes are headaches and cause issues, it's still incredibly interesting.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see paid search heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
5 to 10?
mean,
How about 5 to 10 months?
Yeah, I was going to say.
well,
I
5
don't-
to 10 months, it won't be that much. I mean, I think AI is going to be more and more pronounced in the whole circle of life of advertising in terms of account creation, ad creation, bidding, audience targeting. I mean, the AI, I think it's going to be.
I think there's going to be
everything.
I think there's going to be more ads in things like ChatGPT and the
Yes.
other,
Yeah.
AI that's out there.
Yeah. I mean, Perplexity, they're not paid ads, but they're showing ads, basically sponsored results that are that look like ads, and you can buy right from Perplexity. If you were a member of Perplexity Weber Pro, you could literally just buy it right there. So the AI tools, you can really get into a deep analysis of a product that you're looking for, much more than just a simple Google search. So I think as more and more people get comfortable using that, to Nikki's point, I think there will be ads, and we'll be managing,
Right.
ChatGPT ads or Perplexity ads and Grok, ads.
Yeah, I just heard about Grok yesterday.
Yeah.
Or you wrote a great blog about AI
and agents.
Yeah.
So, real quick, an AI, right now, a chat bot, you just sort of talk to it and it'll talk back. An agent is where you assign it a task and it just goes and does that task for you. So let's say you're looking for, a good pair of running shoes. Right now you could search Google, go to different websites, kind of analyze reviews and price points. With an AI agent, you tell it, I need good running shoes, brown, rugged soles. My price point's 100 to 150. Go find me those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So, potentially, if you allow it, it will go find those shoes, buy it, and all of a sudden, 3 days later, you're going to get those shoes delivered to you. The more intermediary part would probably be to bring you
the results,
3 solid choices, and then you tell it, go buy the Nike or whatever you like. But the AI agents will start to go doing a little bit of that legwork for you. So if you can use an AI agent and you start to trust it, obviously you're going to start using it more and more.
And it's like, how are ads going to?
But how are ads? So is an AI agent going to look for, best running shoe in America, whatever, or is it going to look for running shoe, rugged, brown, price point? Is it going to look for those technical things that are part of your desired goal more than, the emotional language that you might use in an ad? So ads might shift to accommodate AI agents, and websites might need to shift to accommodate AI agents. No one knows where this is all going.
No.
And then the whole, smart glass thing that
Mm-hmm.
Zuckerberg says is the future, where, you're not pulling out a phone, it's right here.
Right.
Like, I'll look at this like, oh, that I want to buy that.
I want a case of that.
What is that?
Yeah.
Boom. Takes an image. Right here, there's a little hologram screen or whatever, pops it up, and you're like, yep, boop, bye.
And then it shows up at your house.
And then it shows up. So I think just the process of getting a phone out, doing this, or you've got glasses on and you just tap it. People are lazy. Whatever's going to be easier for you to get to the end result,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to use.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a slow adoption
Transition.
rate, and
Especially because it
transition.
depends on how expensive those
But imagine
glasses
the
are. And
information.
you can't get rid of your phone, so you have to have a phone and.
Or it could be baked
Well,
in.
eventually, I can imagine it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Communication is everything is through it.
The smartphone is not going to be the device forever.
Mm-mm.
It's just no way. Nothing ever is. So what is that next? Is it a pin? Is it
Is it a watch
I think it's
with
glasses.
a hologram?
It could be. I think it's something visual that you literally can put on and you just forget about it. I'm not sure what the percentage of people who wear glasses are, but I think it's probably a decent amount. Then even if you don't wear glasses, you'd be like, wow, I don't want to miss out on that.
Well, there's 5 of us in here. 3 of us have 3 of you have glasses on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And who has contacts?
No,
no,
nobody.
I had LASIK.
This is a
Oh,
little.
there you go.
This is a little off topic, but have either of you ever seen that Futurama episode where Fry starts to see advertisements in his dreams?
No.
Oh, no, that's,
No.
So he
Oh
wakes
my
up
gosh.
in the new,
After-
1,000 years.
After the Neuralink chip goes into everyone, then you'll see advertising.
Oh my goodness. All right.
But we got to go through the smart glasses first before the Neuralink.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, again, it's what device is going to take over that people are going to use, and that's going to be the ad delivery vehicle.
Right.
Again, it might not be the glasses, but I don't know what else it could be. Like, it could be a watch hologram, but that glasses to me seems the most obvious and the one that they're, at least Meta, is diligently working towards.
Mm-hmm.
I think he even said that was going to be the device of the future, is smart glasses. And again, the information you can get, you look at something, what is that? How much is that? What's this? What, just all the information you can get right in your visual view. I want them. Like I want to wear those. Like if you're out in a nature walk, what's that bird? What's that plant? What's that? Just the information you could get immediately would be so cool. Again, things you could purchase. You see something that someone's wearing, or a collectible or something.
Find me a jacket like that.
Yep, boom. Right now, you got to get your phone out. You got to take a picture. You have to. There's too many steps. I'm too lazy. I literally want to look at it and go, I want to buy that.
Can't tell you how many times Jack has said to our Google or Microsoft reps, can you just make it so all I have to do is do one click to do that thing?
I mean,
all the time.
Because that's how it should be. It's like
an easy button.
If
Jack
easy
wants
button
an
can
easy
be
button.
made, it should be made.
Yeah.
Why should I have to do 5 steps when I know you could program it just to be one?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, but yes, efficiency, not laziness. Well,
yeah.
efficiency induced by laziness.
Induced by laziness.
No, I like that. I like to think of it as efficiency.
Oh, totally. Because again, why do I have to do 5 steps when I know it could be done in one? It's just aggravating.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
Anyway.
All right. Well, Nikki and Jack, this has been an awesome conversation. Feels like we could keep talking for hours, honestly.
Yeah, Jack and I have known each other for almost 20 years, or worked together for almost 20 years. So there's a lot of.
Oh, you were going to talk about our early adventures to Google.
Oh, yeah. Jack and I got to go beta test the very first Google Professionals exam in New York. And
so don't blame us that it's still
here. it was rough even then. It was there was probably 50 of us that beta tested that at one of the Google locations in New York, and it was interesting because there used to be only, I think there was one exam, and then there was 2, because then there was the beginner and then the advanced.
Exam.
And
I mean, again, that's how kind of simplistic the world was. There was one exam that covered all of Google Ads.
Yeah, because at that point there was only, I think, search and shopping.
Is there 10? Like, how many are there now?
6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's 9.
So again, you just literally look at that. That's what it was. This is what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So
the landscape has definitely changed.
Yeah, and it'll change
so much more
next
complex.
Year. So, but I mean, it keeps us on our toes, because you definitely have to be paying attention to all these changes, and they'll just slip in like, oh, you can all of a sudden do this, or you can do that.
That's true. We see that all the time.
Yeah.
There's a new feature suddenly available.
Like it was a promotion piece, I think, in Merchant Center, where you could pick.
Oh, right. Yes, you could pick first-time buyers.
Yeah, first-time buyers as a field in Merchant Center.
Oh, so you can do a code for just first-time buyers? Is that it? Promotion code?
Yeah. It was like, when did that?
We just saw that.
How do they know who's the first-time buyer?
That was literally my first question.
Because you're not connecting your customer match list to your
honestly, my first question.
Google Merchant Center.
Do they know it's a first-time buyer? It's like,
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it literally featured.
I just got the beta for adding. You can pick a brand in a Performance Max as an exclusion, but it will let you keep it for shopping. So it'll exclude it for search, but you can keep it for shopping. So if your product is the brand name item and you want to not show, because you have a brand search campaign running already, and you want to not show search ads for that brand name, you can get in. This beta will let you opt out of that brand, but still include the shopping results for it.
Oh.
So I just got into
which is funny because
just got it beta.
Google pulled everything into one, and now they're starting to.
Yeah, because people keep complaining that they need to be able to see that difference, and it's not quite. I appreciate that, actually, that they're coming back apart on that. with demand gen coming where you're going to be able to select where you're actually showing.
Remember when
I
they
think that's good.
recommended different campaigns for different devices?
Yeah, when you used to do a mobile campaign and a display campaign, and you'd
desktop
put
campaign.
or desktop campaign, and you put tablet with desktop because it was like desktop.
Like a
and-
desktop. Yeah, that was a recommendation. Like split all of your campaigns into different
devices,
device types.
especially when mobile didn't perform as well.
Well,
So it would drive a lot of clicks, and you could lower the bid on it and get a lot of clicks for a lot cheaper because you didn't have bid adjustments at the time. So that's how you got around bid adjustments for devices.
and now it's like just throw a broad match in and
Hope
walk
for the
away.
best.
Well, that's what they say we should do.
Yeah.
I do. I have to say, I do like broad match with brand exclusion, or with brand inclusion. So brand protection. Sorry,
Yeah.
broad match with brand protection. I
Yeah.
do like that a lot. That
Yeah.
tends to work really well for.
I just need to add the must include that I've wanted for the last
That's
15 years.
something that Jack has asked for as long as practically I know him.
include.
Must include this brand.
Yeah,
So-
just
hmm
neither here nor there. Never happened.
Well, that's kind of what brand protection is.
It
It's
kind
a
of
must.
is.
It is a must include.
I guess it is, yeah. But and my idea back in the day was, if you were selling Nike shoes and everything had a Nike term in it in shopping, it would say must include Nike
Or Air Jordans or Air
Jordan,
Force
yeah,
Ones
must
or
include
whatever.
Air
Yeah.
Jordan, but nothing ever came of it.
Except for broad match search campaigns. And I wonder if they'll come up with it for Performance Max, because they have brand exclusions for Performance Max. So if they could have brand inclusions for Performance Max.
Yeah.
I know I brought it up last year at Google Marketing Live and said we still need this.
I mean, the bottom line is just advertisers want that control. Like, again, you don't necessarily have to use that lever, but give us the lever.
Because if something's not working and there's no lever to pull to try to make it better,
Yeah.
it's either off or on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Give
us some levers to try to make it better.
We just want the data and the levers. Like, again, everything else is great. Just give us data and levers.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
I feel like they just want to get everyone accustomed. Like, all right, just put it in this particular campaign, and put your
You
ROAS
can't
in
trust
and
but
let it ride.
verify.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Want to trust but verify. Again, just the savvy advertisers will use those levers and get more efficiencies. Others, maybe they just they're kind of happy and it's fine. They get the results. But we definitely want to be able to supercharge
Mm-hmm.
results, but gotta have levers.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, Google's listening. I mean, they are starting to put more levers back in.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, it's a weird thing because the AI is they're trying to put it all under that smart umbrella where you don't have to have all those levers because the smart bidding, the algorithm's doing it. But still, it still should be both. Use smart bidding, use algorithms, give us a little safety cap, emergency levers that we can pull.
Easy
So-
and advanced.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
There's two
There should
different
definitely should be
Google
both.
Ads, easy and advanced.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just got a signal that it's about time to start wrapping up. So,
Oh, snap.
like I said, it does feel like we could
Wait,
just
what
go
signal
on
did you get?
for hours and hours. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Was it this?
No, but for anybody who's watching or listening, if you want to go even deeper into what we've talked about today, please check out the JumpFly blog at jumpfly.com. The whole team drops knowledge on everything from paid search to SEO, social, and more. So seriously, if you're in the game, you'll want to check it out. Listeners, thank you for tuning in and for joining us for Marketing After Hours with JumpFly. Stay connected with us, and we'll see you next time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hope you've enjoyed the show.
Thanks, Alyssa. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And cheers.